Stop bringing your baggage to family events, my girlfriend's brother said, pointing at my daughter. Her parents nodded. I calmly stood. You're right. I'll stop bringing things. I left. They didn't know I'd been paying their mortgage for 11 months. When the bank called Tuesday morning, my name is Donald. I'm 34, and I run a couple of Instagram shops that sell luxury clothes out of Los Angeles. To my girlfriend's family, that translated to one thing: ATM with Wi-Fi. On Sunday, at her mother's 60th birthday, her brother pointed at my 5-year-old daughter and said, loud enough for the whole room to hear, "Stop bringing your baggage to family events, man." He didn't say daughter. He said baggage. Her parents nodded. Someone laughed. Someone else coughed and pretended not to hear. My daughter Lily was busy trying to fish a strawberry out of the punch bowl with a plastic spoon. She didn't even look up. Thank God. I stood up slowly. My chair scraped the hardwood, cutting through the background music and the clink of cutlery. You're right, I said, voice steady. I'll stop bringing things. I saw my girlfriend, Maya, blink, confused. Don, he didn't mean, she started. But I was already reaching into my jacket. I pulled out a slim black envelope with her parents' names written on it in my neat, boring, accountant handwriting. Ironic, because I'm not an accountant. I just sign a lot of contracts. I set the envelope next to the stack of birthday cards and said, "This is for you too. Some paperwork I've been meaning to give you. Happy birthday." Then I kissed Lily on the top of her head. "Get your stuff, Bug," I whispered. "We're heading out." We left. No yelling. No scene. No tears. Just one line and one envelope. They didn't know I'd been paying their mortgage for 11 months. They didn't know the paperwork in that envelope started with bank statements and ended with a very clear letter. And they definitely didn't understand what "I'll stop bringing things" meant. Not yet. Because when that envelope was opened later that night, everything shifted. And when the bank called Tuesday morning, the performance stopped and the truth finally walked in. I met Maya 3 years ago when she DM'd my shop about a fake bag. "Hey, this account is stealing your pics," she'd written, and sent me a profile selling knockoff versions of the same shoes I'd posted. I replied with a thanks. She kept talking, and the next week we were having overpriced coffee in West Hollywood. She was funny as hell. Smart. Quick. She asked about Lily on the first date. I like that. When I mentioned I had full custody 50% of the time, she didn't flinch. "What's she like?" she asked. "Bossy," I said. "Like 5 foot tall emotionally, but stuck in a small body." Maya laughed and said, "Sounds like my family." I thought she was joking. The first time I met her parents, we drove out to their house in the suburbs. For bedrooms, manicured lawn, a big white swing in front. The kind of place you'd put on a Christmas card. Her mom, Karen, hugged me like we'd known each other for years. Her dad, Robert, gave me that firm, measuring handshake older men give younger guys when they're deciding if they respect you. "So you sell clothes on the internet," he said, drawing out the last part. "Yeah, luxury resell, some direct from brands," I explained. "We've got 3 accounts, about 200,000 followers total." He whistled. "Must be nice to get paid for playing on your phone," he said. Maya rolled her eyes. "Dad, it's fine," I said, "as long as the phone pays the bills." He laughed, but it wasn't entirely friendly. That night, when we were driving back, Maya squeezed my hand. "Sorry about him," she said. "He thinks anything that isn't a 9 to 5 is fake." I shrugged. "I've heard worse," I said. "My ex still tells people I sell used shoes on Instagram, like I'm standing under a bridge somewhere with a trench coat." We both laughed. I should have paid more attention to the wording, though. Used. Fake. Not real. I learned early, in that family, that "we're just teasing" meant "we don't respect you." The first time I brought Lily to a family gathering was a 4th of July barbecue. There were maybe 20 people there. Aunts, uncles, cousins. A lot of beer. A lot of flags. Maya had cleared it with her parents. "She's part of my life," she'd said. "We can't pretend she doesn't exist." Karen said, of course," over speakerphone, and then added, "Maybe just don't make a big thing of it." A big thing, meaning, don't introduce my daughter like a human person. We showed up with a fruit platter and a cheap plastic bucket full of sidewalk chalk for the kids. Lily ran straight to the swing and climbed onto it like she owned the place. One of Maya's aunts leaned toward Karen and whispered, not quietly enough, "She looks just like her mother." Karen's mouth tightened. Maya's brother, Ethan, ambled over with a beer. "So this is the kid," he said. He didn't say her name. Lily, I said. You can say Lily. He took a long swallow. Right. And the mom? She crazy or just regular X-level? He asked. Ethan, Maya hissed. I smiled, that stiff, brittle smile you wear when you're on someone else's turf. She's Lily's mother, I said. That's all that matters. He shrugged. Hey, I'm just saying. We don't need drama at family stuff. We're pretty low drama here. Behind him, Karen was rearranging the cutlery like it had personally offended her. Lily ran up, chalk dust on her knees. Can I draw on the driveway? She asked. Go ahead, Bug, I said. She drew a house with 4 stick figures. I noticed one of them was tiny, off to the side. Who's that? I asked. That's me, she said cheerfully. I didn't know if I was allowed on the porch. I laughed because the alternative was crying. In this family, be flexible meant be invisible. It was the first hum, a low, warning hum under the music and the laughter. The second hum came a year later, when my business blew up. One of our reels went viral. Followers doubled. Brands started reaching out instead of ignoring my emails. Money stopped being something I counted on a notes app at 2 a.m. There was finally breathing room. I took Maya on a weekend trip, upgraded my car, put more into Lily's savings. Then Karen called, not to say congratulations, not to ask how I was. Donald, sweetie, she said. She only called me sweetie when she wanted something. Robert's been a little stressed. Everything okay? I asked. Well, she sighed. The interest rate jump hit us harder than we thought. The mortgage payment is just a lot right now. I could hear Robert in the background, saying, don't make it sound like we're begging. How much is a lot? I asked, already regretting it. She gave me the number. I did the math while staring at the line of orders on my laptop. It was a big number. Not impossible, but big. We're not asking for a handout, she rushed to add. Just maybe, a little temporary help while we refinance. You're so good with money and all that online stuff. You'd get it. Maya was watching me from the couch, eyes hopeful and tense. And you'd pay me back? I asked. Of course, she said. It's family. In that house, it's family meant you owe us. I said yes. I set up an automatic payment from my business account straight to their loan. Just for a few months, I told myself. Just until they sorted it out. Ethan found out somehow. At the next dinner, he clapped me on the back so hard I nearly dropped the salad bowl I'd brought. Big man, he said. Saving the homestead. Must be nice to have that instant money, huh? Karen shushed him. Robert poured me another drink. They loved my money. They just didn't love where it came from, or who it also had to take care of. The third hum was quieter, but it hit closer. It was the first time Maya asked me not to bring Lily. It was a couple months before the birthday. Karen's church group was hosting some brunch and had invited the family. Mom just thinks it'll be easier, Maya said, fiddling with her necklace. Less questions. Less questions about what? I asked. She bit her lip. About her. About why you're not with her mom. They don't know the whole story, and Mom hates gossip. I stared at her. You know who gets to avoid questions? I said. People who actually stick around and parent their kids. She winced. I didn't mean it like that, she whispered. Dawn, it's just one brunch. Can she sit this one out? She. Not Lily. Lily has a name, I said. And no, she doesn't sit out, so you can cosplay perfect family for brunch. If I go, she goes. Maya sighed. Fine. I'll just go alone, she said. So she did. I stayed home and painted Lily's nails glittery blue. We watched cartoons and ate cereal for dinner. But that sentence, the way she said sit this one out, stuck like a splinter. My daughter was an optional extra in their version of me. A removable attachment. Baggage. The last hum came a week before Karen's birthday. We were at their house again, going over plans. I was covering the caterer as Karen's present, easier than buying jewelry she'd complain about. Maya was helping her choose centerpieces. Robert and I were on the patio. He lit a cigar he wasn't supposed to smoke, according to his doctor, and said, son, you should really think about having a kid with Maya. Start fresh. Not a blended situation. I stared at him. I have a kid, I said. Her name is Lily. She's not a beta version I'm testing. He puffed out smoke. You know what I mean, he said. It's tough on a woman, raising someone else's mistakes. I felt my jaw clench. She doesn't see Lily as a mistake, I said. He gave me that pitying old man look. Women say a lot of things at first, he said, especially when they're trying to land a provider. That was the moment something in me cracked. Not exploded, Not yet. Just cracked. I went home and opened my banking app. 11 monthly mortgage payments, each labeled with their lender's name. I scrolled through them, feeling tired in a way that had nothing to do with work. I took a screenshot and sent it to my attorney friend, Jenna. Hypothetically, I wrote, if I stopped making these, what happens? She called me 10 minutes later. What did they promise you in writing? She asked. Nothing, I said. She sighed. Then legally, nothing happens to you beyond what you've already volunteered. You've been giving them money. That's all. But the mortgage is in their name, I said. I'm not on the deed. I just set up payments. Then you can turn off the tap whenever you want, she said. Good news for you. Bad news for them. She paused. Dawn, are you okay? She added more softly. I looked over at Lily's backpack by the door. Her little sneakers lined up neatly underneath. I'm tired of being the only adult in the room, I said. Jenna hummed. Then stop, she said. And tell them. In writing. That was where the envelope started. Karen's birthday lunch was a full production. 32 guests. Balloons shaped like 6 and 0. A banner that said, fabulous at 60. The kind of event you post 20 slides about and tag all your cousins in. I dressed in a plain black shirt and jeans that probably cost more than Ethan's entire outfit. It felt petty and satisfying. Lily wore a yellow dress with daisies and a little denim jacket. You look cooler than me, I told her. She spun in a circle. I know. On the drive over, she kicked her feet in the back seat. Will Grandma Karen have cake? She asked. Yep, I said. Will she be nice today? Lily asked. That one landed like a punch. Yes, I said, because you lie to kids sometimes. And if she's not, we'll leave. The envelope sat in my jacket pocket, heavy for paper. Inside were 11 months of bank statements with my transfers highlighted, a simple spreadsheet showing dates and amounts, a formal letter Jenna helped me draft. The letter said, in very polite terms, that as of Monday, all voluntary payments from me to their lender would stop, that any further support would have to be discussed in writing with a repayment plan, that I was not a co-borrower, guarantor, or legally responsible party. It wasn't revenge. It was a receipt. We walked into applause and kisses and a martini being pushed into my hand. Donald, you shouldn't have, Karen said, eyeing the catered spread she knew I'd paid for. What can I say? Instagram money, I said lightly. That got a laugh. Lily ran off to play with some cousins. Maya slipped her arm through mine. Thanks for doing this, she murmured. It means a lot to Mom. Does Mom know your boyfriend runs a nonprofit called Keep Your House? I asked. Maya grimaced. She knows you've helped, she said. I just didn't give her the exact numbers. I nodded. Of course she didn't. We were seated at a long table. Karen at the head, Robert beside her, Maya on the other side. Ethan across from me. Lily next to me, legs swinging under her chair. There were the usual toasts. A cousin told a story about Karen sneaking cookies to them as kids. An aunt cried. Someone spilled wine. The playlist veered from 80s ballads to modern pop. I kept catching Karen's look flicking to Lily and away, like she was something just barely tolerated in the corner of a photo. Then Ethan cleared his throat and stood up, tapping his knife against his glass. All right, he said. My turn. Karen laughed. Oh no. Should I be worried? Always, Mom, he grinned. He talked about how Karen had held the family together, how she had sacrificed everything so he and Maya could grow up safe and happy, how she deserved a peaceful, drama-free chapter now. I was half listening, chewing on a too-dry piece of chicken. Then he gestured vaguely toward my end of the table. And that means, he added loudly, we all gotta do our part to keep things smooth, right? Like, stop bringing our baggage to family events. He turned his palm up toward Lily. Right, Dawn? He said. No offense, kiddo. The room went quiet in that horrible, stretchy way. Someone snorted. Someone else coughed. Karen didn't say anything. Robert didn't say anything. Maya froze. My fork clinked against my plate as I put it down. Lily looked up at me. What's baggage? She asked. Her voice was small, curious. I stood up. In my head, I heard Jenna's voice. You don't have to explode. You just have to stop. My hands were steady as I pushed my chair back. No, he's right, I said. Everyone looked at me. Maya's eyes went wide. Dawn, you're right, I said to Ethan. I should stop bringing things. I let the words hang. Then I reached into my jacket and pulled out the black envelope. I walked the length of the table. Every step felt like it clicked something back into place inside me. I put the envelope down in front of Karen, on top of the pile of glittery cards and gift bags. This is for you and Robert, I said. Some documents about all the things I've been bringing. She frowned. What is it? She asked. Just a record, I said. Open it later. Or now? Your choice. I turned back to Lily. Come on, Bug, I said quietly. We're heading out. She slid off her chair. Did I do something wrong? She whispered. My throat burned. No, I said. You did great. You're perfect. Some grown-ups are just bad with words. As we walked past Ethan, he scoffed. Dude, are you really storming out? He said. Over a joke? I stopped. I looked him right in the eye. You pointed at my child and called her baggage, I said, voice calm. That's not a joke. That's who you are. Robert finally spoke up. Come on, Don, he said. Don't make a scene on your girlfriend's mom's birthday. I smiled. I'm not making a scene, I said. I'm ending one. Then I squeezed Maya's shoulder lightly. We'll talk later, I told her. Her eyes were glossy. Please don't leave like this, she whispered. But I already was. We walked out into the bright afternoon. I buckled Lily into her booster seat, kissed her forehead, and sat in the driver's seat. Are we going home? She asked. Yeah, I said. And we're not coming back? She asked. I stared at the steering wheel. Not if people here can't remember you're a person, I said. She nodded like she understood more than I wanted her to. Okay, she said. Can we get ice cream instead? I laughed, a sharp little sound that turned into something softer. Yeah, I said. We can definitely get ice cream. As I pulled away from the house, I checked my mirrors. In the big front window, I saw shapes moving, hands waving, heads leaned over the table. Someone had opened the envelope. I didn't turn back. The next few hours played out over text. First, from Maya. What was in the envelope? Then, Mom is freaking out. She says you embarrassed her. A photo came through. The envelope torn open on the table, papers spread out. You could see the highlighted transfers, my name, their lender's logo. Then the letter Jenna and I had written, the lines where it said, effective immediately, voluntary payments would cease. You've been paying their mortgage? She wrote. For how long? I typed, erased, typed again. 11 months, I finally sent. I set up recurring payments when your mom said they were struggling. I thought I was helping. Dots appeared. Disappeared. Why didn't you tell me? Because every time money came up around your family, it turned into an obligation, I thought. Instead I typed. Because I didn't want it to be over your head. Or mine. Then Karen called. I let it ring out. She texted instead. I cannot believe you would humiliate us like this. Waving your little contributions around like we're beggars. I stared at the word little. Then at the attached photo of one of the statements. It was not little. I replied. I didn't waive anything. I left. Those payments were a kindness. They're not an obligation. I put it in writing so there's no confusion. She responded fast. You're punishing us because Ethan made a joke. That's sick, Donald. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. In my head, I saw Lily's face when she asked what baggage meant. I saw Robert calling her mother a mistake. I saw Maya asking if my kid could sit out a brunch like she was a class you could drop. This wasn't about a joke. This was about a pattern. I wrote, you've all made it very clear that my daughter is not welcome in your version of family. I won't pay for people who think my kid is baggage. The payments stop. That's all. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Lily fell asleep on the couch with ice cream on her chin. I covered her with a blanket and sat on the floor beside her, leaning my head back against the couch, listening to the silence buzz. For the first time in a long time, I felt like I was actually protecting her instead of just managing damage. Tuesday morning, the bank called. Not mine, their lender. Karen had apparently given them my number back when I set up the payments, just in case. Hello, may I speak with Donald, last name? A woman asked. Speaking, I said. This is Monica from bank, she said. We're calling regarding the mortgage account ending in. She gave the last 4 digits. Right, I said. We've received notice that the automatic payments from your account are being discontinued, she said. I just wanted to confirm that's correct and that the borrowers are aware. They should be, I said. I provided them with 11 months of statements and a letter explaining it. There was a pause. I see, she said. Well, I'm obligated to let you know that the next payment is due in 10 days. If it's not received from the borrowers directly, there will be a late fee and it may affect their credit. I understand, I said. That's their responsibility. Monica hesitated. If they're under the impression that you're still assisting, it might be helpful for you all to speak together, she offered carefully. I almost laughed. We've spoken enough? I said. Thank you for the call. As soon as I hung up, my phone lit up again. This time, it was Robert. I answered. What did you do? He snapped. No hello. I stopped paying your mortgage, I said. Like I said I would. You blindsided us, he said. The bank just called. We thought that was a stable thing, Dawn. We budgeted around it. And I thought my daughter would be treated like family. I said. We all make mistakes. He swore under his breath. Don't throw a tantrum with our house on the line, he said. You're better than that. It's not a tantrum, I said. It's a boundary. Over Ethan's comment, he demanded. I closed my eyes. This isn't about one comment, I said. It's about a year of comments. Of being told my kid is drama, baggage, a mistake. Of being good enough to pay for things, but not good enough to show up with my whole life. He was quiet for a second. Then, so you're really going to let us drown? After everything we've done for you? I almost asked what, exactly, they thought they'd done for me. Instead, I said, I'm not pushing you under. I'm stepping out of the water you pulled me into without asking. You're adults. You can talk to your bank. Refinance. Sell something. Call one of the cousins who laughed when your son insulted my daughter and see if their wallets are as supportive as their sense of humor. He spluttered. You're ungrateful, he said finally. There it was. Ungrateful. The word they save for when the help stops. I am, I said. I'm done being grateful for being tolerated. He hung up. Maya came over that night. Lily was with her mom, so it was just us. She stood in my living room, arms wrapped around herself. I don't even recognize you, she said. I'm the same person, I said. I just stopped subsidizing people who insult my kid. You know he didn't mean it like that. Ethan says dumb things. He was drunk. He pointed at a 5-year-old and called her baggage. I said, there's not a lot to misread there. She looked away. Mom's been crying all day. Dad's talking about selling the boat. They're terrified they'll lose the house. I'm sorry they're scared, I said. I've been scared too. Wondering if I'm screwing up my kid by letting her hang around people who barely hide that they resent her. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time your mom talked to Lily like anything but a problem? When your dad told me to start fresh and have a real kid with you. Did you say anything? I didn't want to start a fight, she whispered. So you let him call my daughter a mistake to keep the peace. They're my parents, and she's my child. When those conflict, I know which side I'm on. Tears slid down her face. So that's it. You're choosing her over us. That was always the deal, I said. Second date, remember? Lily comes first. This isn't me changing. This is me finally acting like I meant it. Silence stretched. I'm not asking you to cut them off, I said. Just for one line. No one calls my kid baggage and still keeps their hand in my pocket. Mom will never apologize. I believe you. Dad thinks you're being dramatic. I believe that too. And Ethan? Ethan thinks he made a joke, I said. He'll keep thinking that until it costs him. I love you, she said. But I don't know how to do this. I love you too, I said. But I know exactly how not to do this. Is this a breakup? She whispered. It's a boundary, I said. What you do with it is up to you. She left without hugging me. I sat there a long time, then picked up a framed photo from that 4th of July barbecue. Lily half cut off at the edge. I took the back off, slid the photo out, and cut it in half. The side with me and Lily went back in the frame. The rest went in the trash. In the weeks after, the calls slowed. Karen sent long texts about forgiveness that never used the words sorry or wrong. Robert sent a GoFundMe link in case you still want to help out. No hard feelings. Ethan posted vague statuses about snakes and people who switch up once they get money. I ignored all of it. I confirmed with the bank that my payments were fully off, changed every password they'd ever just checked a sale on, and booked a weekend trip with Lily instead. We went to the beach and built a crooked sandcastle. Is this our house? She asked. Yeah, I said. And only we decide who's allowed inside. Then my stuffed animals can come, she said. Non-negotiable. That night, after she fell asleep, I stared at one unread text from Maya. I miss you. I'm angry at you. I'm angry at them. I don't know which life I'm choosing yet. I typed a whole speech about choices and my daughter being my whole life, then deleted it. Instead, I wrote, take your time. But Lily and I won't walk into any room where she's treated like baggage. And I meant it. This story teaches us that financial help doesn't buy genuine respect. If people only value you for what you pay for, they're not treating you like family. They're treating you like a resource. It also shows that protecting your child and setting clear boundaries is more important than keeping peace with adults who repeatedly cross the line. True family doesn't call your child baggage and still expect access to your wallet.